Alright, so sorry for the hiccup there. First live session. Alright, cool. So looking at the numbers, back again. Looking at the vehicle sales, they totaled $628 million worth of vehicle sales for this quarter. And last quarter, they reported $494 million. So that was a $140 million increase, which is really good to see from such a young company, I guess. And again, looking at their earnings per share this quarter, which I thought was one of the most important numbers, the net loss per American depository share was negative 14 cents. Compared to last quarter, this was negative 16 cents. So it wasn't a major improvement, but it was some improvement, and they're closing the gap towards profitability. So I think that if this company continues to ramp up their vehicle sales like they have been, it's been around like 20 to 30% every single quarter, then they're going to become less, they're going to take on less and less of a loss and start to become profitable, just like we saw with Tesla. I really think of this company as a young Tesla, and while they're not a global company like Tesla is, they are looking to expand globally in the next couple of years. I think they're first starting over in Europe, Denmark, I believe. And if we look at the revenues for this quarter, they reported the devil's number worth of revenue, $666.6 million worth of revenue this quarter. Compared to last quarter, this was $526 million. So that was $140 million more this quarter in revenue than they did for the last, which is a pretty good improvement. That's about 15%, pretty similar to what we saw for their increase in earnings per share. I'm not sure where this is coming from. I haven't read much of the. I've just been reading the numbers. I didn't read into this, but it's probably important to look at. Looking at the deliveries, launch of the new battery pack. So yeah, they launched a new battery pack on November 6th, which was a week and a half ago. So the battery pack with battery upgrades, cell to pack battery realized 37% higher energy density than their 70 kilowatt-hour battery. So they created a battery that is more efficient and should run their vehicles even better than they are right now. So this improvement will probably equate to them getting a longer range, which I'm not really sure that's something they struggle with. I think their cars get around a 350 mile range, pretty similar to what Tesla does. And reading through this, controlling equity shares, completion of redemption, financial results. So this was their financial results that I read at the top, and that was in the highlights, I guess. Cost of sales, gross margin. So their cost for their sales was $580 million. Let's look at their last earnings report, see what their cost of sales was. It was $482 million. So this did increase over the last quarter. And this increased since the last third quarter of 2020, or 2019 actually. Mainly driven by the increase in delivery volume for the ES6 and ES8 for the third quarter. Their gross profit was $86 million. Gross margin was 12.9% compared with a negative 12.1% in the third quarter of 2019. So that is a pretty drastic increase. Looking at the vehicle margin in the third quarter was 14.5% compared to negative 6.8% So they're starting to become actually profitable whenever they're making their vehicles. So last year, around this time, every single vehicle that they made netted them a 6.8% loss. So now each vehicle nets them a 14.5% gain. Yeah, I really think this report was really good. Um, Traders didn't really seem to think so, but honestly, this $4 move after hours is really nothing when it comes to NIO, because they moved like what, like 12% today from start of the day at 47 to 49, and yesterday they closed at 45. So like a few dollar move really isn't much for the stock. Their earnings call is about to start in 20 minutes. If you guys see this timer on the bottom right. Looking at the balance sheets. Balance of cash and cash equivalents, restricted cash, was $3.3 billion. So they had $3.3 billion worth of cash for the third quarter of 2020. Certain convertible notes, record amount, business outlook, deliveries of vehicles. Deliveries of vehicles to between 16,500 to 17,000 vehicles, representing an increase of approximately 100% to 106% from the second quarter of 2019. So they more than doubled their number of deliveries, and an increase of 35.2% to 39.3% from the third quarter 2020. Total revenue. Oh, so this is actually their outlook for the fourth quarter. I was kind of confused on that. So they're looking to put out between 16,500 vehicles and 17,000 vehicles for the fourth quarter of 2020. I'm going to pull up their last report. I don't remember the exact number. I think it was around 12,000 vehicle sales. So that's a 50% increase. That would be really big if they're able to actually do that. I don't think this is a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event. Usually, earnings reports aren't that type of event. If you're talking about like a product release, like we saw with Apple, that's a little bit different. Yeah, so their third quarter of 2020, their sales totaled 12,200, and they're looking to increase this to 16,500 or 17,000 vehicles sold for the fourth quarter, which would be a 50% increase. And if they're able to continue this growth, that would be pretty crazy to see. Quarter on quarter, a 50% gain is huge. They already got 9,000 to 10,000 for this fourth quarter. Yeah, what did they report for October? They reported 5,000 sales for October, I think. Somewhere around there, like 5,200. Yeah, I'm really excited for their November sales numbers. I really think that if earnings falls through, then you could probably bank on their sales numbers. The stock pretty much always goes up whenever the sales are released. Same thing with Tesla too. I think that if Tesla is able to sell 500,000 vehicles for the year 2020, that would be huge for them. Also, you guys probably already heard, if you watched my video, they were included in the S&P 500 today. They soared up a ton, and I think NIO actually followed this pretty closely. They followed how Tesla traded almost all day. Let's see. I guess Tesla kind of traded down since they were up so much, but I think that Tesla is probably the reason why NIO did go up today, and also anticipation of the earnings, of course. Yeah, volume is definitely picking up. It's going to pick up, especially at 7 o'clock once the earnings call actually starts. While the earnings was, it was really good, it wasn't great. It wasn't like a Snapchat earnings where we saw like a profit, even though it was a barely profit, they still profited, but they gained about 2-cent earnings per share, which is decent, but I guess investors were expecting a lot more. So I think if they give us a good guidance in their earnings call, that is what's really going to be shooting their stock up. But yeah, right now they are starting to trend up. They just gapped about 60 cents. That's what, like 1.5% for their stock. So that's good to see. Yeah. So the VWAP after hours really doesn't even matter, honestly, because there's such little volume that it just gets manipulated. Like, that's the issue with after hour trading. Like, there's so little volume and the spreads get wider and wider and wider. Yeah, Snapchat was amazing. Looking at their earnings, they freaking soared up like crazy. If we go to the 6-month chart, yeah, they were up like 50%. Oh yeah. If NIO doesn't move as much as expected to, IV crush is going to set in. Really bad. I think I'm kind of protected from it since my call option has a 3-month expiration date. Also, speaking of my call option, if you guys want to see the trades that I'm making, all my trades are on my Discord, which is the first link in the description. And, well, I didn't end up making any trades today. So, getting back into the numbers though. Actually, I wanted to go over a couple of reports before we start the earnings call, which is in 14 minutes now. So, this is from MarketWatch. NIO's quarterly loss narrows but stock falls, outlining why it fell after hours, I'm assuming. Let's see. NIO stock were down 3% for the year. The ADRs have gained more. The American depository shares, I'm assuming, is what that means, have gained more than 1,000%, which could explain their lackluster performance after the narrower than expected quarterly loss. And Wall Street was expecting a negative 17-cent earnings per share, and they reported a negative 12-cent, at least according to Earnings Whisperer. Pretty much every brokerage has like a different estimate for some reason. I'm not sure exactly why that is. Like if you go to Robinhood, I think it was negative 16 cents. So, and then I read another report that said negative 15 cents. Revenue rose 146%, the company said. Consensus called for revenue of $664 million. I think we read the revenue is $666 million. I wonder if they misreported that. NIO has delivered 12,206 sales, and it doesn't say. Oh, yeah, we expect to deliver 16,500 to 17,000 in the fourth quarter. What's up, Jason? How you doing, bro? Let's see how their stock is doing now. It looks like they're trading above the 30 SMA. So it looks like they gained a support. Well, they kind of came down, but then they came right back off of that. And now they're finding a support at the 30 simple moving average line again. So I think that this is a very bullish sign to see. The MACD is still in bullish territory. The RSI is above 50. So that's good to see. That's what we want to see in terms of price movement. And I think if their earnings call goes really well and they give us really good guidance, the stock is going to be going up a ton. We've already seen it go up 100% in the last month, which was pretty insane. I really wish I had bought shares when I first started reporting on NIO, because I think I first started reporting whenever they were trading at $12. And I didn't buy any shares. And now they're trading at 48. Yeah, if you guys want to join the call, I'll post it again. I will have it playing. Hopefully the audio isn't funky. I'm sure it will be, considering our audio problems earlier, but hopefully we can sort that out. There's another report that I wanted to read too. I forget where it came from. I think it was from Motley Fool. What to watch for. So this is what the Motley Fool thinks that you should watch for in NIO's third quarter. They delivered 12,206 vehicles, up 154% from quarter to 2019. Deliveries fell month over month in July due to part shortages. I think that was actually somewhat part due to some flooding they were experiencing over in China. I remember that. NIO took advantage of surging stock price, selling 88.5 million. So they're doing a share dilution. That's actually interesting to see. That was back in August. That was a couple months ago. And they raised $1.7 billion of cash. I think I talked earlier that they have about a $3.3 billion cash pile. So that really helped them out there. Battery packs are bought from NIO, leased to customers. Their battery as a service idea was freaking brilliant. Like, being able to sell someone a car and then make them pay monthly for a battery pack, man, that's just insane. Like, I would have never thought of that. What's a good percentage to take profits? I usually sell cash secured puts, so I really don't look for a crazy percent gain. Whenever I trade leaps, is that January 2021 or 2022? Because the leap is usually 1 year. But when it comes to leaps, I usually take profit at around 30%. That's where I typically take profit, personally. Sometimes I'll take it a little bit sooner if I think that the stock is going to come back down, but like, it's really just based on chart analysis. Like, I don't know if you guys heard about my Apple leap, but I bought an Apple leap right before the earnings. I think it was somewhere around this area. And then I started to lose a ton of money, right? They dropped by 9%. And then the day after their earnings, I ended up selling this call option, and they were trading at 80 RSI. So I was like, well, if they're overextended, I should probably sell out of my leap, right? But, they kept going. And this was before their split price, when they were trading at around like $500, which was insane to see. And I could have made $15,000 on those leaps. But I think I ended up taking like $3,000 of profit, which really sucks. But, with leaps, it's really hard to tell when to take profit. I usually like to take a profit around 30 to 50%. Sometimes it's a little less. It really just depends on the chart analysis. 10 calls, January 15th. with the more call options that you buy, you might actually be affected more by implied volatility. Do they dilute? Do they sell stocks of Treasury? I think they diluted their shares. That's what the Motley Fool said, I think. I might have misinterpreted that, but that was back in September or August. I'll read that report. Yeah, so this was dilution. I don't think this was Treasury. Post-market figures, like what I think that NIO will be hitting post-market. Yeah, I agree. Motley Fool was, I don't know, they're very wishy-washy with their reports. Like one day, I think they were like absolutely loving Workhorse stock, which is a company that I cover a lot on this channel. And then another day they were like just bashing them. It really reminds me of what's that guy's name? The guy on CNBC, Mad Money. Yeah, analysts are typically really bad, in my opinion. I think if you can do your own research, it'll be what any analyst can do. Especially if it's an analyst like Gordon Johnson on Tesla. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but one of the craziest bears on Wall Street for Tesla stock. Anyway, so the earnings call starts in 4 minutes. So I just want to test. Yeah, Jim Cramer, that's who I was talking about. Jim Cramer, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want this video to get demonetized, but he's a little something. Anyway, I'm going to start the earnings call just to test the audio for you guys. So tell me if the sound sounds weird. Well, really? That's... Let me refresh this. Maybe that'll help. Also, yeah, I'm probably echoing because now it's coming out of my computer. Is this echoing for you guys? Yeah, nutcase to say the least. Can't hear me? Okay, let me try to fix this. Give me a second. I'll mess with the settings. Okay. Is this better? Okay, cool. Can you guys hear the music still? Yeah, quarter 3 results are already out. You'll have to watch the replay. I went over all the numbers on that. Actually, I'll link it in the chat for you. There you go. Alright, let me see how I can do this. You think that I would know like how to use technology as someone who studied computer science for 3 years, but music's still louder than my voice? I'm sure if I do to talk louder, turn the music down. Let's see. Oh, this beat's so low. Let me turn this. Yeah, I'm. Alright, so it's about to start. Alright. Alright, can you guys hear? Put the music lower than your voice. Okay. Is this better? Okay, cool. Yeah, so this should start within a couple minutes. I think this is live. Yeah. Usually it takes them a minute or two. Nothing's playing? How about now? Can you hear it now? Okay. Cool. No, the call isn't live yet. Yeah, quarter 3 earnings were already announced. They just haven't started the earnings call yet. I think the earnings call just started. They just turned the music off. Okay. I'll turn it up whenever. I just don't want the music to drown out me for the time being. Post markets aren't closed yet, no. They still have an hour. Which is really weird why they waited till 7 p.m. because they only have 1 hour left of trading until tomorrow. Which is kind of concerning. Negative 2.8. 2.08. What's up?
Check your taxes.
Okay. Can't hear anything. Okay. Let me turn the...
NIO Incorporated third quarter 2020 earnings conference call. At this time,
Are the audio levels good?
are in a listen-only mode. Today's conference call is being recorded.
Yeah.
And I will now turn the call over to your host, Mr. Ray Chan, Director of Investor Relations of the company. Please go ahead, Ray.
Thank you. Good morning and good evening, everyone.
You should be able to see post-market trading on any brokerage.
The company's financial and operating results were published in the press release earlier today and are posted at the company's IR website. On today's call, we have Mr. William Li, Founder, Chairman of the Board, and Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Steven Fong, Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Danny Chu, VP of Finance, and Ms. Jane Wei, AVP of Capital Markets and Investor Relations. Before we continue, please be kindly reminded that today's discussion will contain forward-looking statements made under the safe harbor provisions of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties. As such, the company's actual results may be materially different from the views expressed today. Further information regarding risks and uncertainties is included in certain filings of the company with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The company does not assume any obligation to update any forward-looking statements except as required under applicable law. Please also note that NIO's earnings press release and this conference call include discussions of unaudited GAAP financial information, as well as unaudited non-GAAP financial measures. Please refer to NIO's press release, which contains a reconciliation of the unaudited non-GAAP measures to comparable GAAP measures. With that, I will now turn the call over to our CEO, Mr. William Li. William, go ahead, please.
大家好，非常感谢各位参加未来2020年第三季度的季报电话会议。
Hello everyone, thank you for joining NIO's 2020 Q3 earnings call.
2020年第三季度，未来总共交付了12206辆 ES8、ES6 和 EC6， 同比增长 154.3%， 环比增长 18.1%。2020年10月交付量达到5055辆，再次创造月度交付新高。
In the third quarter of 2020, NIO delivered 12,206 ES8, ES6, and EC6, representing a strong growth of 154.3% year-over-year and 18.1% quarter-over-quarter. In October 2020, we delivered 5,055 vehicles, achieving another monthly delivery record.
ES6 连续13个月蝉联中国电动 SUV 市场销量冠军。ES8 在中国40万元以上高端电动 SUV 市场中占据销量的首位。EC6 也顺利量产开始交付。我们保持了高水平的质量和服务口碑，持续得到用户的好评。9月份，在 J.D. Power 发布的2020年中国新能源汽车体验研究中，蔚来再度获得纯电动新车质量排名第1名。
ES6 has been the best-selling electric SUV in China for 13 consecutive months. ES8 has reached the number 1 in sales this year in the premium electric SUV segment, priced above 400,000 RMB in China. Our third product, EC6, has started the deliveries in September. We have gained and maintained a great word-of-mouth reputation for our product quality and service, and continuously received positive feedback from our users. In the 2020 China New Energy Vehicle Experience Index, released by J.D. Power in September, NIO has once again ranked highest in NEV new vehicle quality among all brands.
随着 BAS 的推出，我们的产品和服务得到了更多用户的认可。10月份新增订单再创历史纪录，4季度我们有信心交付量达到16500到17000辆。
After the launch of Battery as a Service for bus, NIO's products and services have been increasingly accepted by more users. The new order intake in October broke the historic record and exceeded our expectations. In the fourth quarter, we are confident that the deliveries will further grow to between 16,500 and 17,000 units.
在毛利率方面，随着季度交付量的增长和高价车型销量占比的上升，加上物料采购成本和制造费效的持续改善，我们3季度的整车和综合毛利率分别达到 14.5% 和 12.9%， 超过我们此前的预计。
In terms of a gross profit, supported by the steadily growing quarterly deliveries, increase of higher margin products in our product mix, as well as continuous improvement on material cost and manufacturing efficiency, our gross margin in the third quarter has continued the upward trend, with the vehicle margin and overall gross margin reaching 14.5% and 12.9% respectively, surpassing our previous expectation.
公司的体系优势正在逐渐显现。2020年第三季度的运营亏损进一步收窄至 9.46 亿元，环比下降 18.4%， 同比下降 60.7%。第三季度 我们再次实现了正向经营现金流。我们有信心，2020年全年总体可以实现经营活动现金流转正。
NIO's system efficiency is getting more and more self-evident. The operating loss has further narrowed to 946 million RMB in the third quarter of 2020, representing an 18.4% decrease month-over-month and a 60.7% decrease year-over-year. In addition, we have achieved a positive cash flow from operating activities for the second sequential quarter in Q3. We are confident to achieve a positive operating cash flow for the full fiscal year 2020.
接下来我们再来交流一下近期的一些重点工作。
Next, I would like to share with you some key tasks of the company.
研发方面，我们在10月份向用户推送了领航辅助功能 Navigate Untitled， 进一步增加了未来 NIO Pilot 的自动辅助驾驶的竞争力，受到了用户和媒体的好评。通过深度融合多传感器、环境感知以及高精地图的数据，领航辅助功能可以按照导航规划的路径，实现自动进出匝道和自动超越慢车等功能，支持高速公路以及城市高架路段，并且根据中国的路况场景进行了优化。
With respect to R&D, we released the Navigate Untitled feature, or NOP, to users via photo in October, which has further boosted the competitiveness of NIO Pilot over ADAS system, and received rave reviews from users and the media. Through fusing the environmental data from the sensor suite with high-definition maps, NOP can guide the vehicle to follow the navigation route, automatically drive from on-ramp to off-ramp, and overtake slower cars. It can engage not only on highways, but also urban expressways, with optimizations based on specific use cases in China.
我们正在加速第二代技术平台 NT2 的开发。NT2 的核心是行业最领先的量产自动驾驶系统。我们将在 NIO Day 上与大家分享更多的细节。
We are accelerating the development of the second generation technology platform, NT 2.0. The core of NT 2.0 is industry-leading mass production autonomous driving system. We will share more details of NT 2.0 at NIO Day 2020.
11月6日，蔚来发布了100度电池包。100度电池系统采用高度集成的 C2P 设计，能量密度提升了37%，大大提升了蔚来全系产品的续航里程。100度电池包采用了无热蔓延的安全设计，全天候温控、端云融合 BMS 等先进技术，将在12月份开始交付用户。随着100度电池包的推出，我们将为70度电池包用户提供永久升级以及按月按年的灵活升级服务。至此，我们成功闭环了车电分离、电池租用、可充可换可升级的商业和服务模式。
On November 6th, NIO launched the 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack. It features a highly integrated cell-to-pack architecture with 37% energy density increase, which significantly extends the drive range of our product lineup. It has also adopted other advanced technologies, including thermal propagation prevention designs, all climate thermal management, and bidirectional cloud BMS to make the battery safer and better. The 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack will begin deliveries in December. Together with the launch of the 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack, we also provide permanent upgrade and flexible upgrade by month or by year to users of the 70 kilowatt-hour battery pack. As of today, we have successfully closed the loop for our innovative bus model through vehicle battery separation, battery subscription, and chargeable, swappable, and upgradable battery solutions.
产能方面，我们9月份已经达到了5000台的全供应链产能，团队正在与合作伙伴一起进一步提升产能，预计明年1月份将实现全供应链产能提升至每月7500台， 以满足不断增长的用户需求。
As for production capacity, our overall supply chain production capacity has already reached 5,000 units per month in September. The teams are working diligently together with our partners to further elevate our production capacity. We target to expand the overall supply chain production capacity to 7,500 units per month in January 2021 to meet the growing user demand.
销售和服务网络方面，未来已经有22个未来中心和159个未来空间，覆盖中国106个城市。未来换电站已建成159座，覆盖70个城市。我们正在开发成本更低、体验更好的2代换电站，将在明年上半年开始部署。
In regards of the sales and service network, NIO has opened 22 new houses and 159 new spaces in 106 cities and 159 power swap stations in 70 cities in China. Moreover, we're developing the second generation power swap station with lower cost and a better experience, and are planning to deploy the second generation swap station in the first half of 2021.
我们的用户数量在不断扩大，未来用户社区充满了更多活力。刚刚迎来了未来车主志愿者2周年，截至2020年11月10日，未来社区共有3101位车主志愿者，他们来自全国118个城市，出现在展厅、车展、直播平台、交付中心、NIO Day。用户的信任和支持一直是我们最大的前进动力。
As our user base continues to expand, the new user community is becoming ever more vibrant. November marks the second anniversary of the new user volunteer initiative. As of November 10th, 2020, there are 3,101 user volunteers from 118 cities. They take it upon themselves to promote NIO and contribute to the community at the showrooms, auto shows, live streaming platforms, delivery centers, and NIO Day. Users' trust and support have always been the biggest motivation for NIO to do more and be better.
未来将在2020年11月25日迎来6周岁的生日，在用户的支持和团队努力下，我们取得了里程碑式的表现。但我们仍然是一家历史很短的初创公司，面临激烈的市场竞争和挑战。我们会坚决的产品和核心技术研发进行投入，提供最好的服务和全程的用户体验，来回馈我们忠实的用户社区。
On November 26, 2020, NIO will embrace its 6th anniversary. With user support and team effort, we have achieved a milestone performance, but we are still a startup with a rather short history. In the face of a fierce competition and intense challenges, we will remain committed to making decisive investments into products and the core technologies, and offering the best service and holistic user experience to live up to the expectations of our loyal user community.
感谢大家的支持。现在 Steven 将为大家介绍第3季度的财务业绩和统计。
Thank you for your support. With that, I will now turn the call over to Steven to provide the financial details for the quarter. Steven, please go ahead.
Thank you, William. I will now go over our key financial results for the third quarter of 2020. And to be mindful of the length of this call, I encourage listeners to refer to our earnings press release, which is posted online for additional details. Our total revenues in the third quarter were 4.53 billion RMB, or $666.6 million, representing an increase of 146.4% year-over-year and increase of 21.7% quarter-over-quarter. Our total revenues are made of two parts: vehicle sales and other sales. Vehicle sales in the third quarter were 4.27 billion RMB, or $628.4 million, accounting for 94% of total revenues in this quarter. It represented an increase of 146.1% year-over-year, and an increase of 22.4% quarter-over-quarter. The increase in vehicle sales year-over-year was primarily due to the increase in sales of ES6 and ES8. Other sales in the third quarter were 259.2 million RMB, or $38.2 million, representing an increase of 150.7% year-over-year, and an increase of 11.3% quarter-over-quarter. The increase in other sales year-over-year was mainly attributed to increased revenues derived from the home charger installed, service packages and energy package subscribed, and accessories sold, which were in line with increased vehicle sales in the third quarter of 2020. Cost of sales in the third quarter was 3.94 billion RMB, or $580.3 million, representing an increase of 91.4% year-over-year, an increase of 15.7% quarter-over-quarter. The increase in cost of sales year-over-year was mainly driven by the increase of delivered volume in the third quarter of 2020. Gross profit in the third quarter of 2020 was 585.8 million RMB, or $86.3 million, representing an increase of 807.4 million RMB from a gross loss of 201.6 million RMB in the third quarter of 2019, an increase of 272.7 million RMB from the second quarter of 2020. The increase in gross profit was mainly contributed by increased vehicle sales and increased vehicle margin. Gross margin in the third quarter of 2020 was 12.9%, compared with negative 12.1% in the same quarter of 2019 and 8.4% in the third quarter of 2020. The increase of gross margin was mainly driven by the increase of vehicle margin in the third quarter of 2020. More specifically, vehicle margin in the third quarter of 2020 was 14.5%, compared with negative 6.8% in the same quarter of 2019 and 9.7% in the second quarter of 2020. The increase of vehicle margin was mainly driven by the decrease in purchase price of certain materials and lower unit manufacturing costs attributed from increased production volume of the ES6 and ES8 in the third quarter of 2020. R&D expenses in the third quarter were 590.8 million RMB, or $87 million, representing a decrease of 42.3% year-over-year, an increase of 8.4% quarter-over-quarter. The decrease in R&D expenses year-over-year was primarily attributable to higher design and development costs occurred in the third quarter of 2019 for EC6 and all new ES8 launched in the fourth quarter of 2019, and the company's overall cost-saving efforts and improved operational efficiency in R&D functions since the fourth quarter of 2019. SG&A expenses in the third quarter were 940.3 million RMB, or $138.5 million, representing a decrease of 19.2% year-over-year, an increase of 0.4% quarter-over-quarter. The decrease in SG&A expenses year-over-year was primarily driven by the company's overall cost-saving efforts and improved operating efficiency in marketing and other supporting functions. Loss for operations in the third quarter was 946 million RMB, or $139.3 million, representing a decrease of 60.7% year-over-year and a decrease of 18.4% quarter-over-quarter. Share-based compensation expenses in the third quarter were 49.2 million RMB, or $7.3 million, representing a decrease of 30.1% year-over-year, an increase of 8.3% quarter-over-quarter. The decrease in share-based compensation expenses year-over-year was primarily due to less options granted driven by the decline in numbers of employees and impact of part of the share-based compensation expenses being recognized by using the accelerated method, under which the expenses decrease gradually over the vesting period. Net loss in the third quarter was 1.05 billion RMB, or $154.2 million, representing a decrease of 58.5% year-over-year and a decrease of 11% quarter-over-quarter. Net loss attributable to NIO's ordinary shareholders in the third quarter was 1.19 billion RMB, or $175 million, representing a decrease of 53.5% year-over-year and a decrease of 1.6% quarter-over-quarter. Basic and diluted net loss per ADS in the third quarter were both 0.98 RMB or 14 cents per ADS. Excluding share-based compensation expenses and accretion on redeemable non-controlling interests to redemption value, non-GAAP adjusted basic and diluted net loss per ADS were both 0.82 RMB or 12 cents per ADS in the third quarter. Our balance of cash and cash equivalents, restricted cash, and short-term investment was 22.2 billion RMB or $3.3 billion as of September 30th, 2020. Additionally, we achieved positive cash flow for operating cash activities for the second sequential quarter. And now for our business outlook. As William mentioned, for the fourth quarter of 2020, the company expects deliveries to be between 16,500 and 17,000 vehicles, representing an increase of approximately 100.6% to 106.7% from the same quarter of 2019, an increase of approximately 35.2% to 39.3% from the third quarter of 2020. The company also expects the total revenues of the fourth quarter 2020 to be between 6.26 to 6.44 billion RMB, or between $921.8 to $947.9 million. This would represent an increase of approximately 119.7% to 106% from the same quarter of 2019, an increase of approximately 38.3% to 42.2% from the third quarter of 2020. This outlook reflects the company's current and the preliminary view on the risk situation and market condition, which is subject to change. Now, this concludes our prepared remarks. I will now turn the call over to the operator to facilitate our Q&A session.
Certainly, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now begin the question and answer session. And if you wish to ask questions, please press star 1 on your telephone and wait for your name to be announced. And for the benefit of all participants on today's call, please limit yourself to 2 questions. And if you have additional questions, you can re-enter the queue by pressing star 1 again. The first question we have is from the line of Tim Chow from Morgan Stanley. Your line is now open.
Hi, William, Stephen, Jade, and Tim. This is Tim from Morgan Stanley. Congratulations on the strong result, and thanks for taking my questions. So I have 2 questions, and we'll quickly go through them in Mandarin first. 首先第一个问题想跟管理层请教一下，就是说今年未来汽车不论在新的车型发布和能源电池项目都有明显的进展。那如果我们展望明年除了第4款车的推出之外，在研发投入这边相对侧重的项目以及相对应整个投入的金额的预期呢，是不是可以请管理层这边稍微跟投资人做个指引？那第2块呢，就是有关于我们 Boss Battery Service 市场反馈目前市场的反馈还有目前的 take rate。 那因为我们前一阵子刚这个发布100度电的电池包，那有了这个新的这个产品的话，我们对于Bus 长期的预期，这个 take rate 大概是一个什么样的状况？So my first question, we saw NIO making solid operational progress this year at all fronts. For example, like in the launch of EC6 bus and the 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack. So looking into 2021, in addition to the fourth model launch and ongoing investment in autonomous driving, what else would be our key focuses for R&D investment? And if possible, could the management share any rough guidance regarding the overall R&D spending versus 2020? My second question is about bus battery as a service. Could you please share some market feedbacks on the battery as a service program? And with the launch of the 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack, what's our expectation of the take rate of bus services for 2021 and beyond? These are my two questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. 明年的研发，包括我们的研发的重点，就像我前面讲的，我们从核心技术的角度来讲的话，就是我们 NT2 啊，当然 NT2 的话呢是整个的核心的话呢是行业最领先的量产的自动驾驶的这个系统，当然还有很多别的方面的这个更新了，就进展啊。那当然从车型的角度来讲，大家也知道我们现在有3款这个 SUV 的量产车型，我们这个马上会发布一款轿车的产品啊。那我们的 NT2 上的第一款车，是一款轿车。那我们现在当然是肯定是要进入的这个轿车的市场。那当然我也可以说一下，我们现在还有别的一些车型也在研发的这个进展中啊。那我们的第二款新车，就是正在研发的第2款新车，也是一款轿车的产品，所以大家可以想象我们下两辆新车发布了以后，那我们的整个的产品布局应该就比较完整了。所以这个是目前我能够说的关于研发方面的一些这个情况。
Thank you for your question. Regarding the R&D focus for next year or of a recent focus, just like I mentioned in my prepared remarks, the NT 2.0 is the focus in terms of the core technologies. The core of NT 2.0 is the industry-leading mass production autonomous driving system. Of course, we also have other ongoing projects. In terms of the vehicle models, we have already successfully launched 3 SUVs. For the next product we are going to launch is going to be a sedan on the NT 2.0 platform. It means that we're going to enter the sedan market. At the same time, we are also developing other vehicle models. For example, the second new product in the pipeline is also going to be a sedan. So with the launch of the next 2 new products, we believe we can complete our product portfolio.
第二个问题就是bus 的 take rate。我们从8月份发布这个bus 以后呢，我们非常高兴的看到每个星期它的 take rate 是在逐渐的增长。那么到11月份到目前为止的话呢，我们的这个新增订单里面的 bus 的 take rate 已经达到了35%啊。那应该讲比我们预期的还是要快一些，进展的要好一些当然从交付的角度来讲，因为我们都是按订单生产嘛，所以交付的 take rate 它会比这个订单的 take rate 会有一个延时但总体上来说，订单的这个 take rate 里边，我们还是非常高兴的看到了这个 bus 的增长。那么从这个bus 的一个现在用户应该讲越来越认识到它的好处，因为它不光是能够降低购车的门槛，让用户不会利用电池的衰减去顾虑，主要的是它可以有灵活的升级的服务那么这个整个的这个方案的话呢，其实和我们的目标是一样的，是有利于促进更多的汽油车用户去转换100度电发布了以后呢，我们整个的这个 bus 模式呢就更加有竞争力了我相信随着时间的推移呢，用户对于 bus 的理解会更加的深长期来看 ，bus 的订单会继续上升。
In terms of the bus take rate, after we announced the bus in August, we're very happy to see the increase with the take rate every week. And in November, we can see that among all those new orders, the take rate of bus is around 35%, which is faster and better than our previous expectations. Because our model is make to order, so this will be reflected a little bit later in our deliveries. We're very happy to see this bus take rate momentum, and we believe that this is also going to improve in the future. Bus can help us to lower the initial purchase price and eliminate the user's concerns regarding the battery degradation, and also provide the flexible upgrade services to the user. The purpose of bus is to convert more gasoline car users to EVs. After the launch of a 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack, we believe the competitiveness of a bus has been significantly enhanced. And as the users can get much better understanding about the benefits of a bus, we believe this take rate will increase in the future in the long run.
Perfectly clear. Thank you, William, and congratulations again on the result. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. And the next question we have is from Ming Lee from Bank of America. You may now proceed with your question.
谢谢 William、Steven 还有李导成非常好的这个第三季的业绩。那我这边的问题还是主要是关于毛利率的改善方面，因为从第三季到第二季的话，我们的这个毛利率的话，大概差不多是进步了5个百分点。那可不可以请管理阶层再稍微如果可以的话，能不能稍微 break down 一下，就是我们这个毛利率的改善？其中有包含哪些？那另外的话，想再确认一下，我们本季度有这个因为销售积分得到的这个就是额外的这个毛利率嘛？那这个话是不是放在就是non-vehicle 的这个 gross profit？ 然后另外的话，这个 non-vehicle 的 gross margin， 我们看到这一季度它是相较于上个季度稍微下降了一点，但因为我想这个数字很小，所以它每个季度本来就比较不好看。但是长期来看，我们是不是这个 business？就是应该这个毛利率都会持续往上，这是我的第一个问题，是关于毛利率的。谢谢 William. So my first question is regarding the margin expansion from second quarter to third quarter. Your gross margin improved around 5 percentage points. Could you give a rough breakdown? How do you improve your gross margin? And do we also see any extra contribution from the sales of the NEV credit? So that's my first question. Thank you, William, for the mentioned.
好，谢谢Ming，我让那个 Stanley 来回答这个问题。
Hi, Ming, this is Stanley. The vehicle margin increased in Q3 compared with Q2, mainly contributed by two factors. The first is the average selling price increased by 10,000 RMB per vehicle, mainly because the more ES8 with higher price are sold in Q3. Second is BOM cost reduced by 7,000 RMB per vehicle, also which are contributed by the cost reduction of battery pack and also EDS. You mentioned the revenue from selling dual credit points. We received the revenue in Q4 with total amount of 120 million RMB, and we will recognize this as other revenue in Q4. So in Q3, we not included in the financial results. Yeah. So that's your question about the vehicle margin. And regarding the service revenue, I think we are continuing working on to improve the service margin to reduce the loss. So I think the trend will be positive in future. Okay, that's me.
总体上来讲的话呢，我补充一下，总体上来讲，我们 从这个其他的服务的这个毛利率的角度来讲的话，我们当然随着保有量的增加呢，我们肯定也会是持续的会去优化啊。那从这一点上来讲的话呢，这个其实这个其他的这个销售收入的这个毛利率啊，反而它是随着规模效益的增加，它会改善的会更好一些。我们相信当 Q2 到 Q3 这个是一个小的一个变化，但是从长期来讲的话，我们觉得这个持续改进还是非常有信心。
Overall speaking, regarding the gross margin of the other service and the sales, we believe it will be further optimized as our user base continues to expand, and this is going to be reflected with the growing economics of sales. In the Q2 and the Q3, the change is not very evident, but we are quite confident this is going to have a continuous optimization in the future.
好的，那我这边还有另外一个问题是关于 ASP 跟这个电池的部分哦。那因为根据公司的指引的话，我们这边算了一下，大概4季度的这个整个公司的 ASP 大概又会比3季度大概高了12000到13000人民币左右。那想了解一下这一块是主要就是因为我们4季度的这个 EC6 的这个交付会大量的一个增长，所以说带来的这个ASP 的上涨。然后另外也想再请教一下，这个4季度的 ASP 上涨跟这个我们推出100度电的这个比较大的电池是不是也有一定的关系？那我这边最主要想要问的原因是因为我们其实现在换电站已经将近160个，那明年应该会到350个过世以上。那所以说其实会不会对这个消费者他的这个里程焦虑其实也有一定程度的帮助？那其实最主要是想了解说，我们现在消费者这边选择100度电跟70度电，你们觉得往后的这个就是比较constant 的这个比例大概会是怎么样的？然后现在的这个里程是不是其实已经够？如果我们这个换电站的这个密度已经够了，因为毕竟我们的这个消费者里面其实家里有充电桩，安装充电桩的这个比例是非常非常高的哦。那最后一个问题就是说，如果我们卖100度电。
Honey, I think your line got off. Yeah, I think
I'm very sorry. The participant's line got disconnected. May we suggest please press *1 again if you have further questions. I'll move on to the next one. We have Bin Wang from Credit.
Operator, let the management to answer the question first.
Yeah, even you
Sure.
can agree with that.
Sure, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Just to recap a little bit on the question, basically the question is about the average selling price. In the fourth quarter, it seems that the average selling price will increase compared with the third quarter by around 12,000 to 13,000. So we would like to know whether this is driven by the EC6 or the 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack, and we also would like to know for the battery packs, what is the take rate ratio between the 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack and the 70 kilowatt-hour battery pack.
好，那我简单的回答一下，就是我们的这个如果简单去给我们根据我们给的这个销售收入的这个指引和量算的话呢，可能这个还是忽略了我们其他的收入的增长。前面Stanley也讲了，我们在4季度会布进来今年的碳排放积分的双积分的这个收入，所以这个的话呢会把整个的收入其他的就汽车以外的收入的话会拉高一些。所以从整个的我们给的指引的方向的角度来讲，我们并没有去把这个 ASP 的提高作为一个主要的目标。那么目前我们预计 ASP 还是能维持和 Q3 差不多的水平不会显著提高，也不会显著下降根据我们目前订单的情况来看的话，当然100度电的话呢，因为我们4季度也就刚刚开始交付对当季的这个 ASP 也不会有这么显著的影响。当然4季度的毛利率的持续改善，我们还是非常有信心的。
In terms of the sales revenue guidance, we would like to clarify a little bit, just like Stanley mentioned, for the due credit to revenue. This is going to boost the revenue for the other sales. And in our guidance, we don't actually consider the increase of the average selling price as a part of the target. We believe the average selling price in the fourth quarter is going to be at the similar level as the third quarter, according to the orders we receive right now. And we just started the deliveries of the 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack in the fourth quarter, so we believe that this is not going to have any impact on the gross margin in such a short time. But we're very confident to continuously improve our gross margin throughout the fourth quarter.
Operator, we can move on to the next question.
Certainly, sir. The next question is from Bin Wang from Credit Suisse. Your line is now open.
谢谢各位领导。那我有2个问题，一个关于毛利率，一个关于新产品啊。那毛利率的话呢，想问问看一些因素有没有被考虑到，比如说，我们之前有取消这个电池的贴息，这个我刚刚没有看到 Stanley 有解释啊，这个有没有帮助到毛利率？第二呢，是不是江淮的这个生产安排导致已经没有规模效应了？我也没听到 Stanley 解释这个规模效应的帮助。那么往前看的话呢，这个 bus 如果更多的被使用 ，bus 是一个毛利率正面的因素吗？还是负面？能不能量化一下？100度电的这个电池，对毛利率是否正面负面？如果你比如说到50、60的都用100度电，那么这样的毛利率大概有多少的帮忙？以及呢，就是这个算积分啊，会算在那个新车毛利率里面吗？因为刚才好像没有解释这个。最后就是这个有没有一些一次性的这个因素在3季度？因为我们的友商就理想他们有一个一次性的宁德时代的一个返利啊，我们有没有可能在3季度有没有这一次性的一个电池的一个回溯吧？有没有这些一次性的因素？这些都是关于这个毛利率的这个问题哈。第二个呢，就是关于这个新产品。那我其实也是看到未来2个新产品都是这个轿车哈，这相对是一般来说可能价格会低一些，毛利会低一些。那么有没有可能会做一个更大比 ES8 更大的 SUV， 比如说 ES9？ 那我为什么会提这个呢？就是因为我们的友商它的下款车是个更大的 SUV 哈。那就想问问看，在新产品的想法之上呢，到底将来会不会做更大的？因为之前我们有一个 EVE 这款 MPV 类似的产品嘛，更大的好像是更高毛利哈，基本上是这些问题。我可能稍微翻译一下，就是 Actually, I just want to know what's the margin factors going forward in the past. Going forward, we see a few factors. For example, the bus adoption, 100 kilowatt-hour battery, and some removal of the interest rate subsidy previously for the battery. Any one-off factors for impact the margin in the past. That's about the margin. And second, about the new products, because we've seen the next 2 products will be the sedan, likely to be lower pricing or maybe lower margin. So do you have any plan for an even bigger SUV or even bigger one? Because for example, maybe the lane is the ES9. We've seen other peers actually planning for much bigger one. So basically, what's the upcoming plan for even bigger products? Thank you.
Hello, this is Stanley. I will break down into the factors to further explain the gross margin improvement. The first you mentioned is about the subsidy. We further reduced the subsidy to the end users in Q3 with the launch of our bus model. And so in Q3, there's a little bit like factor can like to due to the subsidy reduction. And the second is the skills of economy. As you can see, the production volume in Q3 is 12,000 vehicles and almost over 20 increase compared with Q2. As William mentioned priorly, and we invest more to improve our production capacity in September to 5,000 units. So the manufacturing cost, I think almost all the same with the second quarter. Yeah, and about the bus and also the 100 kilowatt impact, I want William to answer this question. Yeah.
OK 好，那个刚才制造的那个我再补充一下，从这个长期来讲，从方向来讲，当然随着我们量的增加的话，
我们知道费效会持续的有改善的空间啊，但是确实是到了一定程度就不会再下降了，但目前还是有下降的空间的。在 Q3 里边这个贡献比 Q2 肯定小了一些啊，那越往后肯定会越小一些。当我们到了这个明年的1月份，我们到7500台的产能以后，这个还是会有一些下降，但这个不会下降太多了，这个从一个方向的角度来讲。
I would like to add some points regarding the manufacturing cost and efficiency. In the long run, of course, we will further improve our manufacturing efficiency and the cost, and we believe this is going to reduce gradually, but we're going to stop the reduction at a certain point. Of course, we can see more contribution in the third quarter compared with the second quarter, but this is going to diminish in the future. But we will continue to work on the optimization of the manufacturing efficiency and the cost.
那从 BAS 的角度来讲呢，这个因为我们是在公司会把这个电池和整车分别销售给这个电池资产公司和用户啊，并且同步确认收入，所以总体上来说呢，它是不影响整车的毛利的。但从一个长期的角度来讲，因为我们提供这个电池升级服务，所以它会增加我们的整车以外的这个毛利啊。从长期来讲，因为我们电池升级服务还是有毛利的啊。这个所以从这个角度来讲的话呢，它不影响整车毛利，但是会长期来讲增加我们非整车的毛利。
For the battery as a service, we will sell other cars to the users and the battery to the battery asset company under the BAS model. So it means that this is not going to affect the vehicle gross margin, but with our battery upgrade service, this is going to provide some good benefits to other revenues. So in the long run, this is not going to have any significant impact on the vehicle gross margin, but it will give some incentives to other revenues.
对，但新车积分我们是算在这个其他的收入里边啊，这个所以我们不是像 Tesla 那样 ，Tesla 是把这个积分的话呢，这个碳排放积分是放到整车毛利里面，我们这个双积分啊是放到这个其他的这个收入里面，所以它提升的是整车以外的毛利。
For the dual credits, we actually include this in other revenues or other sales. We have different approaches compared with Tesla because Tesla considers the revenue of the credit in the vehicle margin, but we include that in the other revenues.
关于这个新产品的这个布局，当然我们有自己非常这个完整的一个市场进入的计划 ，step by step。我们从策略的角度来讲的话呢，我们就像 ES8，先从一个中大型的这个 SUV 的这个市场进入，然后我们到中型的 SUV， 到酷配的 SUV， 我们都是非常体系的。那么在轿车这个领域，我们肯定是要进的啊。那我们下一个当然是要进入到轿车这个细分市场。我们总体的逻辑呢，还是要去 balance 这个细分市场的这个大小啊，和这个我们的这个量，我们还是要 balance 这个啊。这个当然有一些比较小众的市场，现在不是我们的重点。
For the new product planning, we have a very comprehensive product and the market entry planning. This is going to be carried out step by step. For example, we started with our flagship SUV ES8 in the mid and large segment. Then we entered the mid-size SUV segment with the ES6, then the coupe SUV with the EC6. This is a very systematic approach. For the next step, we're going to enter the sedan market. When selecting different market segments, we need to balance the size of the segments and the volume of objectives. At this moment, the rich markets are not going to be our focus.
I think we also mentioned the one-time factors in Q3. We did not receive a significant sales rebate from the suppliers in Q3.
So I don't think, we have also the material factors. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Can you also answer me about the 100 kilowatt-hours battery, whether that will improving your margin? Also, I think in this flow you also mentioned about 150 kilowatt-hour battery are coming. So did you think that margin for the upside from the battery upgrade?
对这个100度电呢，如果是用户选装的话，当然毫无疑问会增加这个毛利率。但是我们同时提供这个100度电的这个灵活升级服务。那么如果是全装的话，它会提高整车毛利率。那么如果是灵活升级服务的话呢，它是提升这个其他的这个收入、其他的服务的毛利率。所以这个我们会把这个全装和升级服务要分开看。100度电的话呢，我们觉得我们当100度电推出来以后，我们看到了一些也有一些用户会去选装，但是因为我们提供按月按年的这样一个灵活升级服务，所以也有很多用户会觉得它其实用灵活升级就可以了。所以总体上来说，毫无疑问100度电会提升我们整个公司的毛利率，但是它对于这个新车的销售的毛利率的提升呢，可能是这个不会特别的显著，但是长期来讲，它对于我们其他的这个服务的毛利率的提升，那我觉得从长期来讲是有一个很好的支撑。
For the 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack, the users can purchase the battery pack as an option, which is going to improve the vehicle gross margin. But at the same time, we also provide a flexible upgrade, which can contribute to the gross margin of other services and sales. These are two different stories and approaches. After the launch of the 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack, we have seen some users choose to install the 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack as an option. And at the same time, we also provide a flexible upgrade. So we also have some users opt to the flexible upgrade by month or by year. We believe this is going to improve the gross margin of the company. But in terms of the new car gross margin or new vehicle gross margin, we think it's not going to have a significant impact. But in the long run, this is going to give us some boost to the gross margin of the other sales and the revenue.
其他的更大容量的电池包，其实基本上也是这个逻辑啊，就是说，其实王斌，我们总体的一个大的一个思考就是说，平时你用70度电就日常的使用就够了。如果你需要一些长途的出行，那你可以用一个租用我们的一个更大容量的电池。那当然这个的话呢，就满足在少数情况下的一个需求。我们认为这个方法是我们独特的一个竞争优势。从财务的角度来讲的话呢，我们也为创造长期的整体毛利带来了一个更多的可能那我们以后每推出一款新的电池包，都能够针对存量用户去有这种收入的可能性那我觉得这个是我们的商业模式里面比较独特的一个地方，比较独特的一个优势。
Our logic for this approach is basically the 70 kilowatt-hour battery pack can meet the daily needs of the users. And if the users need to travel for long distance, then they can subscribe to the bigger batteries or the batteries with higher density or capacity. Users can choose this service on demand. This is quite flexible, and this is the advantage of our service. We believe this is also going to contribute to the possibilities of gross margin growth in the long run. And the battery pack is going to provide a very good opportunity for us to improve the gross margins among the existing users, and this is a very unique advantage of our business model.
那有一点我想补充的就是，其实我们推出100度电，包括后续的更大容量电池包，我们从这个角度来讲，它其实大大的增加了70度电电池包用户的这个吸引力。 因为他们有机会可以灵活升级，这一点很重要。它并不一定每个人都必须去买一个100度电或者或者更大的150度电。那它其实平时使用70度电，然后有需要的时候用更大容量的电池包。所以从这个角度来讲的话呢，它其实是大大增加了我们这个70度电的这种竞争力啊。所以我想大家从一个 whole picture 去看这件事情，希望大家能够从这个角度去多一些理解。
The 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack or the future bigger battery packs can, in the end, improve the attraction of the 70 kilowatt-hour battery pack, because the users of the 70 kilowatt-hour battery pack will have the opportunity to upgrade the battery pack on demand. They don't actually need to have the 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack or 150 kilowatt-hour battery pack right from the beginning. They can just use the 70 kilowatt-hour battery pack to meet their daily usage needs. Then when it needed, they can upgrade to the bigger batteries. And we believe that this is going to significantly improve the competitiveness of over 70 kilowatt-hour battery pack.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wang Bin.
Thank you. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you may press star 1 for questions, and it is the hash key to cancel the question. And again, may we remind everyone to please limit yourself to 2 questions, and you may press star 1 again if you have additional questions. The next one is from Edison Yu from Deutsche Bank. Your line is now open.
Thanks everyone for taking the questions. First, can you talk a little bit about the plan, the operational plan to boost the production target in January? What needs to get done just on the ground? And then secondly, as it relates to the next gen autonomous platform, can you talk about your latest thinking in terms of insourcing the chip design, maybe the implications for Mobileye in that relationship, and how you think about the use of LiDAR?
Thank you, Edison. 第一个问题就是这个产能的。
对，因为刚才提到6月份我们会提升产能，然后现在是不是已经开始实施了相关的计划？
对，当然这个实际上我们一直强调是一个全供应链的产能啊。那因为不光是工厂的产能，重要的是我们要保证供应链的每一个 partner 它都能够 match 我们的这个需求。我们现在用户订我们的车确实需要等一些时间，我们也希望的话能够加速这个交付的这个速度。那现在我们工厂的产能提升一直都在按照计划在前进，我们还有一些 partner supply chain 的 partner 呢，我们也在帮助他们提升他们的产能。是的，这个工作我们一直都在做啊，我们是非常有信心，在1月份能够到达这个全供应链7500台的产能。
We have always been emphasizing on the overall supply chain production capacity, not just about the production capacity of our own plant. We would like to work together with all the supply chain partners to make sure they can support us to boost our production capacity. The users right now will need to wait for some time to pick up their parts because of the production capacity constraints. We are also trying to speed up the deliveries to satisfy the users' demands. So right now we are working on our own plant production capacity expansion and also working together with the supply chain partners to improve their production capacity. We're very confident to be able to improve our production capacity to 7,500 units.
那第二个问题就是我们 NT2 的芯片的选择，那这当然这个我相信就是行业都非常关注的一件事情，但这个还是给我们点时间啊，我们还是希望在我们正式发布我们的在 NIO Day 上给大家公布更多的细节，今天可能还太早去说这个。当然我们做出了自己的选择，但是确实现在还时间太早，我们能够确保的是它一定是行业最领先的这样一个解决方案。 而且能够保证我们在将来的几年也能保持领先。
The second question is about the chipset of the NT 2.0. We understand this attracts a lot of attention in the industry and in the market, but we still need some time to disclose the specific information. At the NIO Day 2020, it's still too early for us to share those information. Of course, we have already made our decision internally. We believe that we should be able to provide the most advanced chipset with the best performance in the industry, and this can also help us to guarantee our leading position in the industry for the coming years.
关于 LiDAR 的话呢，我想先说一下我们对于自动驾驶的这个评价这个方向的一个思考。我们认为2件事情是最重要的。第一个就是你到底这个替用户解放了多少比例的时间，那么从这个角度它是个可用性的问题啊。另外一个的话呢是防范了多少的事故啊，那这个它是个可靠性的问题。那么不管是从可用性还是可靠性的话，我们觉得 LiDAR 都是有它的积极意义的啊，都是这其实是一个容易就算出来的一个东西，就是能增加多少可用性，能增加多少可靠性。那从这个角度来讲的话，我们相信 LiDAR 有它的意义，当然 LiDAR 有它的部署成本的问题，这需要去做一个 balance。从一个方向的角度来讲的话，不管是 Camera 发展到什么样的技术，不管是算力到了什么样的程度，我们相信 LiDAR 都在一定的这个场景下边都有它的这个意义，而且也对于降低这个事故的比例降低事故的概率有它积极的意义所以我们认为 LiDAR 从一个技术方向的角度来讲它是一个非常有意义的补充。
For the LiDAR question, I would like to share some thoughts on the autonomous driving direction first. When thinking about autonomous driving, we should evaluate the 2 aspects. The first one is how much time we can free up for the users. This is a question of the availability or usability. The second question is how many accidents can we prevent with the autonomous driving system. This is a matter of reliability. So we need to think about these 2 aspects when we evaluate the strategy of autonomous driving. We believe LiDAR should be able to help with both aspects. This is a very simple math, but we will need to tackle the issue of cost when it comes to LiDAR, and we need to balance this out with our product strategy. In the future, with the improvement of cameras and compute powers, we do believe LiDAR can play a role in some cases and domains because it can help us to reduce the accident rate in some corner cases. So LiDAR is a very good addition to the technology competence.
如果是一个把用户的利益放在第一位的企业的话，我们相信这是需要去突破的一个从成本和性能的角度来讲需要突破的一个技术的问题。
If a company puts users' interest first, then they should find ways to tackle these technical issues in terms of cost and performance.
Thank you, Edison.
Thank you. We have the next question from Nick Lai. Your line is now open.
管理层你好，我是 JP Morgan Nick， 就2个简单的问题好了，第一个就是有关 capacity 跟 cash burn， 就刚有提到说明年的1月份我们的月产能会大概7500台，然后以我们现在在江淮的设计产能，是不是在未来1年或者1年半应该要再考虑那个产能增加的问题，然后在资本开支该怎么看这个事情，然后同时在资本开支的这个一样的这个前提下，我们明年会增加更多的那个电池 电池的 swap station， 还有更多的 NIO house， 就整体我们怎么看这个未来1年的 capex 跟 cash burn， 然后需不需要应该是 in theory 在未来2年，因为在今年上半年到前3季度有融资，所以应该在未来1-2年不太需要再到资本市场做 fundraising， 这是第一个问题。然后第二个问题就有关自动驾驶，我想再追问一下，是不是刚听 William 的这个讲法，是不是我们可以理解成我们在自动驾驶的长期的策略，基本上就是去买，就是跟比较好的 vendor 去买购买晶片，但是之后的演算法、这些算力等的就是都变成 in house 了，这个策略的。autonomous driving 的这个策略的问题。Let me translate my question very briefly. The first question is regarding the cash burn and the capex and the investment in the next 1 year. For instance, William just mentioned that our monthly capacity can ramp up to 7,500 in January, and would that mean that in the next 1 year also we need to expand our capacity at the Jianghuai plant? On top of that, how should we think about the capex needed to build a swap station as well as NIO space? So the first question is about cash burn and capex related. And second question on longer term autonomous driving solution or strategy. Based on what William's chairman just comment just now, is it correct to understand that our long term strategy is to procure chips from top vendor, but at the same time we'll do most of the operation capability or solution in house? Thank you.
So Nick, with regard to the capex to improve our production capacity, most of the capex will be covered by JAC. Of course, NIO will spend very little capex on our own, but the majority will be covered by JAC.
Yeah, and we also will invest more in the expansion of sales and service network and also the power substation. But we will manage well the progress, so I don't think there will a very big cash burn in I think next year. So yeah, that's about the question about the capex.
从目前的这个我们的这个发展计划和我们的现金的角度来讲的话呢，我们是短期内没有这个技术融资的这个计划短期内我们是能够支持我们整个的发展的。当然这个另外一个问题就是自动驾驶的这个，当然我们这个会就像你刚才讲的，我们当然会去做 in house 的这个全站的能力我们其实我们一直也具备这样的一个能力那当然我们最近的话呢也加大了这个整个的这个 in house 的这个算法和数据团队也加强了这个团队那我们从一个系统的角度来讲的话，我们现在 NIO Pilot 我们从16年开始研发，就是整个的系统就是完全由我们自己来做的。当然确实呢在第一代的话呢，我们的 NIO Pilot 呢它的这个芯片和算法它们是绑得更紧。那我们从这个第二代开始的话呢，我们会有全站的 in house 的整个的这个从算法数据的这个能力系统的能力，这是我们的一个方向。
Of course, for the current development plan and the cash position, we believe we have no need for financing in the short term. We should be able to have sufficient resources to support the business development of the company. With respect to autonomous driving directions, our objective is to build in-house full stack capabilities for autonomous driving. Of course, we have always had this capability in our company in-house. Recently, we have even enhanced our capabilities in terms of the algorithm and the system development. Starting from 2016, we have developed the NIO Pilot first generation by ourselves in-house. But for the first generation NIO Pilot, chipset is closely bundled together with the algorithm. For the second generation NIO Pilot, we would like to make sure we can have the in-house capabilities, especially in terms of the algorithm, data, and the system development.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Jeff Chung from Citigroup. Your line is now open.
各位领导好啊，花旗的 Jeff 啊，我有几个问题啊，我首先头两个问题，第一就是我们知道一月份明年那个产能会有一个扩充，但是2月份是一个农历新年嘛，那整个一季度来说，我们的销量，跟今年4季度比会有一个怎么样的一个提升？就是现在我们看这里头会不会有一些未知数，就是可能是电池的一个供应的瓶颈。这是第一个问题。第二个问题呢，就是我们看见3季度我们的整车毛利扩张速度比这个非整车毛利扩张速度要快，那我想问一下，往后的几个季度是不是也会延续的这样的一个 momentum， 就整车毛利要远远快于非整车毛利啊？就先这两个问题。So, my first question is about first quarter next year's sales volume outlooks. Whether they can still expand Q on Q. And second question is about the differences between vehicle GP margin and non-vehicle GP margins growth outlook and forecast. Thank you.
对，当然谢谢 Jeff， 这个现在还太早去给一季度的这个指引呢，就是当然我们 anyway 我们从产能的角度来讲。要做好满足我们的这个订单的这个需求啊，我们相信今年会有不少的这个订单需要靠明年的一季度的产能去满足啊，这是我们从目前订单的一个发展趋势的角度去看，因为从 NIO 的角度来讲的话，我们都是按订单生产嘛，所以我们跟传统的汽车公司不一样啊，我们是讲订单深度啊，别的公司可能是讲这个库存深度。那我们从订单深度的角度讲，我们希望它在一个合理的水平啊，太长了的话呢，会影响用户体验啊，用户要等的时间太长。那所以我们希望能够把我们的这个订单的这个深度，能够通过产能的提升，能够让它在1个月以内啊，也就意味着，如果一个用户订一辆车到交付这个车，能够以我们现在的如果是产能足够的话，我们希望它能够在3个星期左右啊，3到4个星期，这样的话对用户体验来说的话是非常好的。那当然我们看起来还需要等比较长的一点时间才能到达这一点，这是个幸福的烦恼。但我们相信这个产能提升了以后会显著的提升这个用户体验，所以现在还太早去看明年一季度，但我们还是非常有信心的啊，从目前的这个趋势的角度来看的话。
Thank you for your question, Jeff. It's very early to provide the guidance for the first quarter of 2021, but of course we need to be fully prepared in terms of the production capacity to make sure we can meet the user demand and the order backlog. According to the current order momentum and the current backlog, we will need to have a sufficient production capacity for the first quarter of next year to meet the order backlog right now. So in our company, our business model is make to order, so we would like to focus on the level of orders. For other companies, they talk about the inventory level, but we focus on the order level. We would like to control the order level within a reasonable range, so users don't need to wait for a long time to pick up their car. We would like to improve our production capacity to make sure we can control the order level within 1 month. It means from the order placement to the user delivery, the lead time should be between 3 to 4 weeks. Then we can achieve a good user experience. At this moment, we still need a long time to meet this target, but we will need to ramp up our production to make sure we can improve the experience, and we're quite confident that we can achieve this target in the future.
当然从这个毛利的提升的角度来讲，在过去确实我们一直都是在这个非整车的毛利它的水平一般都是比整车毛利要低一些，但是总体来说我们看到了在过去的几个季度，我们都是整车毛利和非整车毛利都是在持续的这个持续的变好啊。当然这个我们前面也讲了，我们的这个 积分收入这个双积分的收入我们会放到非整车毛利里边。那么这一部分的话呢，今年在中国的话呢，这个积分的话呢，确实它的市场价值已经显现出来了。那我相信这个从今年4季度开始到明年的整个一年从再远的将来，我们的这个积分的收入会显著的改善我们的非整车毛利。另外一点的话呢，就是我们现在的这个销售我们现在的服务的收入，还有我们的这个换电站这样的一些这个收入那随着这个我们保有量的增加的话，它的这个亏损单车的亏损其实也会逐步的缩窄所以总体上来讲的话，我们的这个非整车的毛利也会持续的提升从更长期去看的话，这个我们电池升级服务也能够显著的去改善我们的整车的这个非整车的这个毛利所以总体上我们觉得现在一切都是按照我们计划的在前进的。
The gross margin has been on the rise. In the past, we have witnessed a consistent trend that is the non-vehicle gross margin is lower than the vehicle gross margin. In the past few quarters, we have seen both the vehicle gross margin and the non-vehicle gross margin have been increasing. Just like I've mentioned, the carbon credit revenue will be included in the non-vehicle gross margin in the future. And this year, we can see the value of the carbon credit has become more and more evident in China. In the coming years going forward, we believe that the carbon credit is going to contribute to the improvement of the non-vehicle gross margin. At the same time, the revenue from our services and the power swap can also help us to narrow the operating loss. So this is going to improve together with the expansion of our user base. Overall speaking, the non-vehicle gross margin is going to improve in the long run, and the battery as a service bus can also improve the non-vehicle gross margin. Everything is going according to the plan.
另外我补充一点，就是我们今年4季度实现的这个积分收入的话，事实上是19年我们销售的车产生的那我们今年销售的车，这个预计会产生的积分数量是去年的至少2.5倍以上。那么而且积分的单价的话呢，从目前来看的话呢，我们至少认为会增长1倍吧，大概会增长1倍。所以总体上来讲，我们可以预期的话，这个明年的在积分方面的收入的话，从一个市场的预计的角度来讲的话，我们大概会是今年的积分的收入4到5倍大体上会是这么一个水平。现在有不少汽车厂商在跟我们接洽，想买我们明年的积分。这个当然我们看这市场现在确实因为这个双积分对于这个整个新能源车下一步的这个发展的推动作用还是会非常的大。
In the fourth quarter, we're going to receive the revenues on the carbon credit, which is generated by the vehicles sold in 2019. In this year, because of the sales increase, the carbon credit number has increased by over 2.5 times, and we believe that the piece price of the carbon credit will also double next year. So the overall revenue on the carbon credit will be 4 to 5 times more next year compared with this year. Now, a lot of OEMs are in discussion with us about the purchase of the carbon credit. So we believe that this due credit system and mechanism is going to be very beneficial to the development of the EV industry.
谢谢威廉我还有很快2个问题对谢谢那个第一就是那个明年的这个 carbon credit
没事
就是明年这个 carbon credit 的话也是明年的4季度入账吗？就跟今年一样也是今年的4季度入账是这样吗？这是第一。第二就是我们那个 NOP 的那个 attach rate 现在是多少？然后未来 几个 quarter， 我们觉得这个会增长多少？然后 BaaS 现在的 attach rate 我听刚才说是35% 嘛，这个我们未来1、2、3个 quarter 我们展望了多少啊 ？So my last two question is about the carbon credit. Will it be impacting on our P&L next year in 4Q as well, rather than spread evenly throughout the 4 quarters? This is number one. Number two is about the attach rate on our NOP and BaaS right now and going forward. Thank you.
对这个积分收入到底在哪个季度确认这个我们会根据这个整个市场的这个情况策略，还有这个整个的会灵活的去看嘛，这个我们不一定是把它放在某一个季度或者说这个我们会根据因为你卖的太早的话，没准就卖便宜了，是吧？这个我们这就是一个市场的一个决定。那后边 BaaS 的 take rate 我刚才已经说了，我们在11月份到目前为止的订单我们从订单的角度讲已经到了35当然我们这个相信它会持续的会去提高。那NOP 的这个 take rate 我们已经在NT 的 take rate 我们已经在50左右从总体来看的话，随着 NOP 的推出我们相信这个它的这个用户的这个 take rate 也会有一个不错的表现
The confirmation of the carbon credit revenue is quite flexible. We are not going to put the revenue confirmation in a specific quarter next year because this depends on the specific market conditions. If we sell too early, maybe it's a little bit too cheap. For the BaaS take rate, just like I mentioned in November, the take rate of a BaaS has reached 35% among the new orders. Going forward, we believe this is going to further improve in the long run, and the take rate of the new pallet is around 50%. After the launch of Navigate on Pallet, we believe this is going to have a much better performance.
Thank you.
谢谢 William. 谢谢。
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Mei Yi from US Tiger Securities. Your line is now open.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Great quarter, guys. My question first is, could you please comment on your thoughts about Tesla's Made in China Model Y? Will it impact on your order momentum? And secondly, could you please give us some updates on your internationalization plan? For instance, do you have a timetable for multiple steps of going global? And where could be your focus market? What kind of models are you going to introduce to international market? And how to hire a local and competent team? 所以我的问题的话是2个，一个的话是不是可以这个讲一下咱们对于这个那个特斯拉 Model Y 的一些想法，然后这个事情的话对咱们的订单的动能的话是正面的还是负面的？那么第2个问题的话，是不是可以讲一下咱们的国际化的计划，比如说咱们对于不同阶段的国际化有些什么时间表，然后哪些地方会是我们的主要的市场，然后我可能会推出的车型，以及怎么样去招募一个比较这个本地化和有能力的团队。谢谢。
谢谢。这个对这个，当然我们看到 Tesla 这个是已经比较明确的说，他们 Model Y 会国产当然总体上来说的话呢，我们相信这个市场有更多的产品给用户选择，对促进整个这个电动汽车的这个普及的话，肯定是有非常大的好处的。那我们当然也看到 Tesla 跟我们确实是一个不太一样的公司让他们会不停的降价，然后这个在过去的这1年多里面降了很多次的价他们总体上来说是一个按成本定价的一个逻辑那这个当然，如果从一个事实的角度来讲的话呢，他们第一次降价，对我们在当时在今年年初、去年年底、今年年初的第一次降价，对我们当时的订单确实差不多有1个星期的影响按实讲有这个影响，但后边他每一次降价其实基本上都没什么影响。他最近的一次很大的一个降价，降了10%左右这个在国庆节这个10月1号的一个降价，事实上然后我们10月份创造了订单的历史记录所以 我们总体上觉得我们现在的在中国的这个平均的这个购车发车的价格大概比 Tesla 要贵十几万人民币我们其实认为我们的产品和服务有自己的独特的竞争力我们觉得Tesla 当然 Model Y 推出了以后，我们相信呢对这个市场整体上是有正面的影响的但从我们来讲，我觉得 Model Y 可能更多是和 Model 3去竞争多一些所以我们的车和它还是有显著的差别的我们从产品和服务的角度上有这个竞争优势所以我觉得从一个整体的一个市场的情况来看的话整个这个派的变大我们最主要的竞争对手还是油车所以我们相信中国的这个高端的这个车的市场是几百万辆的一个规模这个我们和 Tesla 加起来可能也还没有多少所以这个还好吧，这个市场还足够大我们还对自己的成长和迎接这个竞争还是非常有信心的。还是那句话，我们认为我们最主要的竞争对手还是油车。
Thank you for your question, May. Tesla has officially announced that they are going to have the local production of the Model Y. We believe that this is actually good for the users because if we have more options for the users, this can help us to accelerate the popularization of EVs in the market. Of course, we believe the Tesla's strategy is quite different from NIO. Starting from last year, Tesla has cut their price multiple times, and they basically have the pricing strategy based on the cost. At the end of last year and the beginning of this year, their price cut has affected us for about 1 week. But afterwards, our order intake bounced back very quickly. After this price reduction, they also had several rounds of price cuts. The most recent one is around the 1st of October. The price cut is around 10%. We didn't see any specific impact on our order intake. Actually, in October, our order intake has broke the historic record and exceeded our expectations. Our transaction price is around hundreds of thousands RMB higher than Tesla's average selling price. So we believe this proves that we have our own unique advantages with our products and services. Model Y's introduction to the China market is going to be beneficial for the overall market, but we believe the competition is more about the competition between Model Y and the Model 3 because we have our own unique advantages regarding our products and the services. For the market situation, basically, we believe the pie is growing bigger, and our main competitors in this market should be the gasoline cars. The China premium market is a very big market with the volume of millions, and this gives us a great confidence that we can have a sustainable growth in the long run.
This is Stephen. I'll give you some high-level update of our globalization efforts. First, we have a very concrete short-term target. That is, we will enter EU market in the second half of 2021. At the same time, globalization is a very long-term vision for NIO. So NIO is a global brand, and we will be very patient to implement this strategy step by step. And so we have three principles. First, we will stick to our user enterprise business model. We believe it's a global and universal business philosophy. Second, we will maintain our premium brand positioning. So our key competitors are Mercedes, BMW, Audi, and Tesla. Third, our sales and service must be localized to suit the European customers' needs. Yeah, that's the update of our globalization efforts.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. That will be the last question for today. I'd like to turn the call back over to the company for closing remarks.
Thank you again for joining us today. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact NIO's Investor Relations team through the contact information on our website. So this concludes the conference call. You may now disconnect your line. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. That will conclude our conference for today. Thank you all for participating. You may now disconnect.
All right. Can y'all hear me? No, you can't. Let's see. All right. Can y'all hear me right now? Is the audio level good? Waiting in the chat. All right, cool. So, I want to look at the earnings one more time. So, what they were saying in the earnings call at the end, they were talking about the Tesla Model Y and the competition. And they're basically saying that this really isn't competition to them. And honestly, I believe it. Coming from China. Okay. Hold on.
Craig.
I know. I hear you. Alright, let me... Is it still echoing? Okay. Let's see. It's good now? Good? Alright, cool. All clear. I don't know why it starts to echo on me. That's so weird. Anyway, so what I was talking about earlier was the Tesla Model Y competition. And essentially...
It's good now.
Okay, thank you. Essentially what they were saying at the end there was that they don't feel like Tesla is much competition with their Model Y, and they're starting to gain a larger and larger piece of the pie, which is really good to see from this company. And one of the things that I really want to point out, because I found this very crucial, was their estimated number of sales for next quarter. They said that they're going to possibly sell 16,500 to 17,000 vehicles. If you guys remember, yesterday, or the other day, I said that they sold like 12,000 vehicles for the third quarter of 2020. So that is a massive gain in sales. Actually, let's look at their last quarter sales report. So, looking at their last quarter sales report, September and third quarter of 2020, they sold 12,206 vehicles, and they're looking to increase this to 16,500 to 17,500, which is an increase of what? 16,750 over 12. That's a 40% increase, which is massive. That's almost unheard of to see that kind of growth and it's just confirming the exponential growth that they've already been seeing. So this is basically just like a young Tesla, although they're not global yet. So anyway, they're starting to take a larger part of the pie of the Chinese electric vehicle field. And this company is going to go up in the long term. Tomorrow, I'm expecting their share price to be around $50 or so. Personally, that's where I think it's going to go. I think it's going to cross this daily high of $49.37. This might act as a resistance, and then it's going to go to over $50. And if it crosses this, it might head to new all-time highs if we look at the 1-week chart. I think that it's going to cross $54 easy if it passes this 50 mark. So that's just my opinion, of course. But I think that NIO could be breaking new all-time highs, just judging from what they were talking about with their forward-looking guidance. So we talked about the number of sales they're predicting for next quarter, and they're also predicting the revenue for next quarter of $921 million. This quarter, they reported 666. So that's almost a 30% increase. I think it's around 25 to 30%, which is really big. So I'm very bullish on NIO stock without a doubt. And personally, I'm going to be buying shares. Tomorrow, I'm going to be buying shares, and I'm likely going to be taking profit if we see NIO stock trading between $54 to around $57 or so. That's when I'm planning to take profit. And with that, with the profits, I'm going to be buying shares, and I'm actually probably going to buy them in the morning just because they'll be a little bit cheaper. I do think that the pre-market might pick up in speed and we might see some bullish price movement in the morning, but obviously I don't have a crystal ball. So again, I think they're going to cross 54 tomorrow if they can cross this 50 mark. All right. Anyway, JC says JC is producing for NIO. They have no production technology, no cell technology, and full self-driving software. They already have highest market cap per cars produced. Why should they go up? JC is producing cars for NIO? Never heard of JC. I think that Tesla is going to be pushed out of the Chinese electric vehicle market personally, because of all the subsidies that all of these smaller Chinese electric vehicle companies are getting, and with Tesla getting absolutely none of it. Well, one of them obviously has more advantage than the other, and with the Chinese electric vehicle market, or the Chinese car market in general, being the biggest in the world, it's just an obvious choice to buy NIO. Well, in 2035, they're planning to go all electric, is what they said. And that's what I heard, at least. I'm pretty sure. You guys want me to talk about space? Virgin Galactic? This is a NIO call, bro. How long have I been buying NIO? I bought it just a few days ago. I've been planning to buy it for a long time, but because of the China tensions, because of the trade war, I was hesitant to buy it. I was looking at NIO whenever it was trading around right here, around $12. I was looking to buy on this dip, but I was worried because of the whole trade war situation. But now it's a little bit different. I think that China tensions are going to be easing, personally. So I think that now more and more Americans are going to be more willing to buy into Chinese electric vehicle companies, or just Chinese electric, or Chinese companies in general. If we look at Alibaba and how they've traded, they're actually down a lot. Interestingly, after the earnings report, that is awful to see, but they still have a support right around here. If we look at the other Chinese electric vehicle companies, though, like Li, they're up a ton. I was talking about the stock a few weeks ago when they were trading around here, $20. Now they're at $36, $35. I called this stock out months ago when they were trading flat, and now they've just taken off. And then you have XPeng, which I also talked about. And these are two of the newer Chinese electric car makers on the US stock market. And this one, it's up 100% in the last 14 trading days. Massive. Yeah, XPeng and NIO. XPeng, NIO, and Li all have a really bright future, with China tensions easing and with having the biggest car market in the world possibly going green by 2035. These companies have a huge decade ahead of them. I'm using TD Ameritrade by Thinkorswim by TD Ameritrade. Compared to Bitcoin chart. Okay, we can look at the Bitcoin chart. I've honestly been thinking about buying Bitcoin recently. Yeah, TD Ameritrade, Thinkorswim. Yeah, Chinese government has control over who they want to win. And they don't want Tesla to win because they're afraid of American companies getting data on China. So they're going to give more subsidies to these small Chinese electric vehicle cars makers instead of giving it to Tesla. NIO to $60 tomorrow. Maybe. I'm thinking around 50 to 54 at close. And I think if we get enough momentum in the morning, we could easily break new all-time highs. But we're going to need to see some trading volume behind it. We're going to need to see some whales, some big money buying in, just like we saw on Friday. Remember, I was talking about how they were dropping tens of millions of dollars worth of NIO stock. I'll actually pull that up for you guys. NIO institutional investors. Institutional market beat. Let's see what the whales have to say, because we can get updated on them. Today, Voleridge Investment Management LLC bought $45 million worth of NIO shares. Great West sold $15 million. This company, AQR, increased their holdings by 210%, buying $36 million worth. So even today, the buy orders were bigger than the sell orders for NIO stock, just like with Friday. Let's see. Let's scroll down, see if there's any. Charles Schwab, I already talked about this. They bought almost $25 million worth of shares on Friday, on November 13th. So whales are very bullish about this company. Can I check CBAT? Let's see. Holy crap. Bruh. What the heck? What is this? 175% gain in a week? That's just absurd. What was their earnings estimate? Actual 0, but what was their estimate? My next play on NIO. I'm going to be buying shares tomorrow morning, for sure. After hearing what they had to say about their growth for next quarter, I'm going to be buying shares of NIO stock. I don't care if NIO stock drops tomorrow morning or not. I'm going to be buying shares no matter what. Also, if you guys want to see what trades that I'm making, I post them all on my Discord. I post every trade that I make in real time over there. So, go join it. Anyway, getting back into NIO. Looking at the 1 day, 1 minute chart, they ended the day bullish with the last 3 candles. And there was a lot of volume picking up. So I'm assuming that people were liking what they heard when it came to the Q&A session. So that's obviously just my opinion, or it could just be buying in at the last minute. Who knows? But if we get more volume tomorrow morning, I'm not buying tomorrow. Okay. I'm going to be taking profits tomorrow on my call option. I'm going to be buying more shares. If they're trading, really, if they're trading anywhere, I really don't care. I'm going to be buying shares. Because after hearing what they said, this is very bullish. Globalization in Q2 2021. Yeah. They're looking to expand to Denmark first. NIO global expansion. Strong international expansion to drive NIO stock to $150. Well, that's a crazy price target, but maybe. Over the past year, the stock has powered more than 2,000%. The analyst list has expressed abundant optimism. Over the past few months, it has become increasingly obvious. What does it talk about? Expansion, though. Why NIO cars will sell all over the globe. When it comes to NIO, this quote seems particularly relevant. As we've discussed, NIO cars rivaled by only Tesla cars when it comes to EV performance, aesthetics, and specs. I agree with this. If NIO doesn't expand internationally and start selling their SUVs in Europe, yeah, they really need to start global expansion. If they really want to grow their company, just like Tesla did, they need to start expanding globally. Here in the States, they already have a headquarters. They already have a headquarters in, I think, Europe. If we go to their website, we can look at that. About NIO. Alright. So this is all their headquarters across the United States, and it's likely where they're going to be expanding their production to. We got one in San Jose, California, Beijing, Shanghai, Yifi, services nationwide, Oxford, and Munich. If they start making more money, if they start becoming more profitable, ask Sebi. if they start becoming more profitable, then they're going to be able to expand globally. Once they start to make money, I think that's when you'll start to see them expand. It's going to cost them a lot of money, but they need to do it. Yeah. Their battery swap service, their battery as a service is really a clever idea, because they're paying not only for the car, they're paying monthly for the car, and they're paying monthly for the battery. So pretty much double income for this company. Yeah, no doubt about it. Battery as a service was a win. Norway. Was it Norway they're looking to expand to? I feel like I heard Norway not too long ago in my Discord. Yeah, Norway. Yeah, so their first market is going to be Norway. So they're going to have an advantage since it's an electric car maker, and, well, they don't have any taxes on imports for electric cars. Scandinavians charge huge sales tax. Oh yeah, I want to talk about their next car, actually. Because they talked about it in their earnings, in the call. No, that's not what I want. I know they're releasing a new car on Friday, is what I heard. Yeah, if they announced expansion on this call, that would have drove the stock up. But, I mean, with them improving their sales numbers, possibly 40% quarter on quarter, that's what I really think is going to send the stock up. What price did Charles Schwab buy in at? Let's see. NIO institutional investors. Market beat. Charles Schwab bought, I know they bought on the 13th. They bought $24 million. They bought, or they're holding 1 million shares, over 1 million shares. They increased their position sizes by 17.6%. So, let's see if I can do this math. I'm definitely not a math whiz, but we'll try here. Okay, and then they spent 24 million, 25 million almost, right? No, that's not right. So I honestly got lost in this math. Anyway, they increased their position size by 17.6%, which was really big. multiplied by the total shares. Yeah. NIO is definitely going to be doing that. Tomorrow, the whales are going to be out. And they're going to be buying like no other. Tesla's battery as service gave it up, not successful in California. Really? I never heard anything about that. JF says it's opening at 55 tomorrow. I'm not sure about 55, but like probably 48. Although we could get a gap up. So maybe. Yeah, honestly, Tesla's quote-unquote SUV, I mean, I really wouldn't call it an SUV. It's more of a hatch, or a hatchback? Not a hatchback, it's a crossover. Like, they don't have an SUV just yet. The Model Y, or the Model X, I guess is the biggest one. It's not a full-blown SUV. Google it, YouTube video of Elon talking about battery swap. Let's see. I mean, I wouldn't say that Tesla is the past. Like, Tesla is still the future. And there's enough room for both of these companies to succeed. I'm still bullish on Tesla, especially after they just got included into the S&P 500. They're about to go nuts. Because all of the S&P 500 trackers, all of the smaller ETFs like SPY, are going to have to buy in. Battery swap pilot program back in 2014, 2015. At an event in Los Angeles last year, we showcased the battery swap technology to demonstrate that it is possible to replace a Model S battery in less time than it takes to fill a gas tank. This technology allows Model S. Wow, this is really interesting. Honestly, I thought this was a new idea. But, I mean, if you can sell the battery separately from the car, you're going to be making more money. Battery as a service and being able to not only get money from a car payment but also the battery is huge. I don't think so, Christian. Also, something else to keep in mind is that I was reading something about China and battery swap. China battery swap. The thing with China is that it's not like the United States where you have a bunch of single home families. Mostly in the Eastern culture, they build up because it's so densely populated that they have to build up and live in apartments. And then not everybody has access to, a charging station. They have limited charging stations, so they need battery swaps. It's different from the American market. Yeah, if they were to try it in somewhere like New York, New York would be a perfect example because pretty much everybody lives in an apartment there. Tesla is the Apple of the future. NIO's Huawei. Yeah. But Huawei is only in China, mostly. And I think if NIO can expand, I'm not sure if they could catch up to Tesla because Tesla is so far ahead, but yeah. Apartment dwellers can't charge their vehicles. Basically, yeah. Like, if you don't have enough charging stations at your apartment and the whole world is switching to electric vehicles, then how the heck are you going to charge your car if you can't just, replace your battery like NIO does? It makes sense. Starlink over 5G. Well, Starlink is different from 5G. Starlink is for rural places, whereas 5G is for cities. How come NIO dropped after earnings? I'm guessing just because investors were expecting a lot more. But, I think the whales are going to be buying in tomorrow. Like, their earnings per share adjusted, their American, let's see. Their adjusted net loss. Now, this right here. That's per ordinary share. I'm trying to look at the American. Their adjusted net loss per American depositary share was 14 cents. Last quarter it was 16 cents, so this wasn't a lot, but they're still closing the gap towards profitability. Earnings reports aren't a buy the rumor, sell the event type, sell the news type of thing. Earnings are fundamental. If you're talking about like Apple with their releases that they've had in the last couple of months, yeah, people are going to sell it because, it's gone up so much, people are going to want to take profits. But I think with the whales buying a ton of NIO shares on Friday, and again today, as we were talking about earlier, the stock is just going to keep going up, keep chugging along. Huawei is the leader in the world except for the US. Alright. Well, anyway guys, it's late here. It's 9 o'clock and I gotta get to bed. If you guys want to see the trades that I'm making tomorrow on NIO stock, I post all of the trades that I make over my Discord. I'm going to link it in the chat. Let's see. So, go visit that link if you guys want to see the trades that I'm making on NIO tomorrow. That's all I got for you today. I'm tired and I gotta go. So, as always, remember to stay positive, stay green. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.